How can we cultivate resilience in our students? I'm Mike Loader.
And I'm Greg Campitelli.
Welcome to Beyond Education. Welcome back to Beyond Education, presented by the team at Inquiry Tracker, where each episode we examine the way we teach, listen and learn from primary education through to university and beyond. Greg, why is resilience so important for students? What are we talking about today?
Well, it's probably the most important topic that all students face at the moment. I think we're really, never before has there's been so much uncertainty in the world. Not only are we faced with challenges around global politics and challenges that faces children, but also this whole idea of social media. It's relentless.
Absolutely.
It's 24/7. So this idea of resilience and hope is really important in our students, and I think that's a fabulous time to bring in our expert guest.
All right, well, let's welcome Dr. Kate Ellen, co-director of Upschool, a unique expert with experience as a teacher, school psychologist and clinical psychologist as well. It's wonderful to have you with us. Thank you for your time. How has your journey as an educator and psychologist led to this global movement?
Well, thanks for having me here, Mike and Greg. I guess I've had some unique experiences. I've not met anyone else with my career path, I would say. It's a little bit of an interesting one. So I guess the way this started for me is that I had worked and trained in all of those roles, and then COVID hit. So I all of a sudden became a homeschooling mum, quite concerned about how things were moving in the future. I thought to myself, who in this world would have some high level information about how the world is going to change? And so I actually reached out to the school that Elon Musk had created on SpaceX and just said, hi, I'm a homeschooling mum, this is my background, because I was very curious to understand what he would want his children learning in terms of how they can cope and adapt to a very rapidly changing future. So I learned all about their curriculum. They have amazing things like conundrums that teach ethical reasoning and critical thinking in very quick, very engaging cartoons for kids. And also subjects like 3DM, which is data-driven decision-making, which is teaching children how to analyse data to make well-informed decisions. So fast forward all of that, and I met some different individuals with a high net worth who wanted to invest in me to create and start redesigning a new type of schooling system. That then led into me meeting the Upschool team, who are phenomenal. We realised we are on a very similar path, so we've joined forces to do good in education.
Nice, fantastic. I mean, talk to us about, Kate, some of those challenges. I touched on at the start, those complex needs that are perhaps in front of students today like never before. I mean, students have always had needs, right? But perhaps they're a bit more complex than perhaps witnessed in previous generations.
Yeah, so I think what children are dealing with at the moment is something that we've never seen before. We don't have information passed down from one generation to the next of how to deal with these complex issues and understand them. We know that our children are in homes, on devices a lot. They've got access to information that's completely inappropriate for their developmental level. It's not what they're mentally ready for. They've also got parents that are overworked. Parents are sending work emails while they're making dinner. And we've got a generation where people are technologically addicted, and they're also struggling with different issues. So, we know that we've got algorithms working behind all of this that are keeping our children watching. They're developing addictive brain patterns.
Yeah.
Their attention span is reducing. I think everyone's sort of seeing us as being hyper-connected. But in reality, in the last 10 years, there's been a 70% increase in depression, anxiety, loneliness, self-harm, suicidal ideation and suicide attempts. So whilst we seem like we're hyper-connected, we're actually feeling very disconnected and lonely.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all based on the information you've outlined there, and of course the trends we're seeing. How does the Superpower Teacher program, though, help teachers handle these complex student needs and avoid burnout? Again, that hyper-awareness, being on technology all the time, etc.
So what we know is that children spend 70% of their waking hours in school, which means that our teachers are the ones that are dealing with these issues, these really, really complex needs the majority of the time. And for any parent that has ever run a party of 10 kids 2 hours where they run around and, I don't know, eat crisps and play in the pool. They know how interesting it is. So if you took that as a parent with that knowledge and thought, I've got 30 children in a very small space and I'm not giving them chips and letting them run around at a party, I'm having to teach them all, and they're coming in with really complex needs. So what we know also is that it's taking between 9 months and 3 years, because psychologists are so overbooked, for teachers to gain any sort of specialist advice of how to help these kids. And it's just not working.
Yeah.
So what we've done with Superpower Teachers is that we've created a library of 3-minute videos, which teaches, it's almost like a professional development library that a teacher can watch at really convenient times. So if they're really struggling with a student before recess, they know that they have got something that they can look at to support them and give them ideas and knowledge before the next session starts. Each video is broken down to be very, very simple to understand, and also comes with downloadable resources. So we know that in a classroom of 30, there can be up to 3 to 9 students who have something called dysgraphia, which is a writing learning difficulty. The most teachers that I've ever met and known have no idea that that's actually in their classroom. So what we're doing is we're providing really simple stats so that teachers can start to look differently and become almost like a classroom detective. So when they see an issue that's disrupting their day and causing them stress and their students not progressing like they would like them to, they have ways of identifying what is it, and then they can download 40 adjustments for every issue that there is, and apply different things, pick and choose what will work for them.
That's extraordinary. I love the idea of having, Mike, the instant resource. Like I could literally go to a break, watch a 3-minute video and say, I can tackle that in the next lesson. I imagine all of those, Kate, are age appropriate. Kids in primary or elementary challenges are very different to kids in middle and high school. Talk to us about the role of the parents. Obviously the parents have a massive role in working hand in glove with teachers and ensuring that there's that fabulous alignment between home and school. Yeah. Why is that so important, and talk to us about that?
So just as we believe that the Superpower Teacher program will reduce a teacher's stress, it'll give them more hope because they'll know what to do. I think when people don't know what to do, that's when they don't have hope. So we're looking at building that hope within the teachers, but we're also looking to build that and support our parents. So as I said before, no one has handed down from generation to generation, how do I deal with a really difficult iPad tantrum? How do I deal with my child being gaming addicted? How do I deal with my child not wanting to be anything except a gamer, a YouTuber, or a social media influencer?
Gosh, yeah.
So what we've done is we've matched the Superpower Teacher program with the Superpower Parent program, which means that we've created very similar videos that are matched with what the support systems we're providing the teachers, but they're just relevant to home. So we've provided that to some parents already, and we're getting great feedback. Parents are actually using the program and seeing things within themselves. So they're applying the strategies to themselves and their kids. Nice. But the reason why I did both is because that we know that when school and home are working together and they both understand what to do and they're both providing the strategies, we're going to get the best outcomes for the kids.
Yeah, 100%.
So true.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the study behind your new schooling system, its scale and perhaps its motivations as well, more broadly speaking.
This is really exciting, actually. Kate and I were talking previous to the show, and this is hugely interesting. Kate, tell us about the HOPE study.
So the HOPE study is something that I'm very excited about. Finally, my doctorate is coming in handy. They're pretty hard to get through, needing to understand statistics and psychological research. So what we're doing is when we're creating resources with the intention of boosting hope and counterbalancing the sorts of issues I talked about before for students, we really need to do something about their mental well-being. And we've got them in school 70% of the time that they're awake. So what we're doing is saying, let's intertwine curriculum that's exciting, that's also boosting their mental health and their well-being. But we want to go further than that. So rather than just assuming we're doing well, what we're doing is we're actually conducting, as far as I know, it's actually the world's largest study on hope. And that's international. So we've got schools all around the world using the different curriculum and resources we've created. And then we're then capturing, 50,000 students just in one schooling system.
Gosh.
So my hope over time is this is becoming an incredibly large, never seen before study. And it's really looking at saying, is what we're doing making the difference that we want, and then informing our product and informing what we're doing. So we have a full-time psychological researcher who's working on that, and we will continue it for as long as we have investors supporting it, because it's quite expensive.
I can only imagine.
It's incredibly important. I know it's early, and I know that the project is, it's huge, and it's so good to hear a study that's on hope, not hopelessness, Talk to us, are there any findings? I know it's early on in the study, but are you seeing any trends, any findings, things you can talk to our viewers about that you're noticing in the early data that's coming in?
Yes, so we started to collect, data was coming in about halfway through last year, and then we're waiting for the second data set. So that's just starting to come in now. But what we're already seeing is that we've got, teachers are reporting that their students are more engaged, more hopeful, they've got more pride in their work, they're more inspired, they're more engaged. But it goes beyond that. The curriculum that we're creating that schools are using, it's actually free, it's STG. It's a lot of the curriculum that we're studying at the moment is the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal curriculum, which is free for anyone to use. And it engages students in projects that create connection, real life, human to human connection, without a device in between. And what we've got is students doing amazing things, bringing food from home, feeding children that are in the school next to them, creating libraries, sending them overseas. But it's not for underprivileged kids or communities that have been through a flood. But it's not just that. We've got teachers being nominated for Teacher of the Year. We've got the curriculum that's being used. Like when schools use the curriculum, they're being covered on national news, local news. There's a school in India that's just won an award, almost like a mini sort of Guinness World Record type award for the amount of books that their children have produced through our Write a Book to Change the World course.
So many things to be excited about. Unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for you today, but I did want to thank you, Kate, for joining us on the program and outlining everything that you and the team are up to. It's incredible stuff.
Never enough time, Mike.
Never enough time.
We love best-in-class systems. My biggest tip for our viewers would be get onto Upschool. I love best-in-class software at Inquiry Tracker. We love it. Get onto Upschool, find out about it, connect with Kate on LinkedIn, and do yourself a favour and
find out more.
Yeah, find out more.
Yeah. This program, of course, was brought to you by the team at Inquiry Tracker. Want to discover how this powerful software can transform your school's operations? Head over to inquirytracker.net to learn more.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.